The general theme is how does it feel to be a hypocrite?
Right. Well, he sounds like a royal dirtbag.
I was wrong about something.
Magnificent! Magnificent! Magnificent!
If we can be with ourselves, if we can understand ourselves, we can love.
It's not my fault nobody can understand what you're saying.
Let's go while we're young.
3, 2, 1. Just introduce yourself and tell me what you ate for breakfast.
Hey, good morning. Really last second, I decided to come out back here. Like you can see, backyard morning show. Woo! So, hey, Wise, wondering if you shop here. There's a saying that the world sells distractions at the cost of your life's purpose. The wise don't shop in this market. It's pretty powerful stuff when you really think about it. The world is constantly trying to sell us distractions, isn't it? Now, like the if-only distractions and things like that. I wanted to, I'm kind of playing catch up from being gone. I'm playing catch up from reorganizing a lot of things here. I just, we all know and feel that whenever there's, just an administration change, things get, everybody gets quite upset and backwards and upside down and all that other stuff. And I'm no exception to that either. I was, I launched this shiny brand thing. And of course, there's just things along the way that you plan and that don't work out the way you want it to. You have to pivot as, friends made famous. And I know some people that love the word pivot with you remember the whole couch scene where I think Ross, somebody, I don't know, but, we're telling them to pivot the couch around the corner. So kind of good stuff. So, it's just, I was thinking about how we have to look for things and shop for things and go outside of our little bit of a comfort zone. It's a little chilly out here this morning. And my point is I'm outside my comfort zone doing this. And why not continually go outside of my comfort zone to do this and just come out back, throw a light up really quick. I hope you can hear the birds, out here. It's wonderful. And so that's what we need to do is just really mix it up with this morning show a little bit, go outside that comfort zone, be vulnerable and things like that. So as I was thinking about the whole shopping thing, I was thinking about how when I go in and go grocery shopping, right, I'm so distracted if my stomach is empty. I think we can all relate to that. And so I looked up this quote for today's show or saying or whatever you want to call it. And I think it's very important to understand how the world does sell those distractions that get in the way of our purpose and things. And so I went to a school yesterday that I had been there. We couldn't figure out if it was 8 or 9 times, but nonetheless, it is something that it works, right? What I've done for that school has worked for their students so much that they've had me come back nearly every year. Now, a dozen years ago was when my daughter died in a car crash. And so if I've been there 9 times, the math is pretty simple on that. And so the gentleman was talking to me beforehand about how the students have changed, how it's more difficult to do certain things. The whole feeling has changed on the direction, so to speak, they can give the students. I guess we all probably understand what that means. And so that he was basically wishing me good luck and that this was going to be just a different year. And then afterwards, he said that you didn't lose focus. You didn't lose track of your purpose, your mission. And he full of compliments that I'm extremely grateful and humbled by. And I think that's really the thing. And it tied into what I wanted to talk about today so well. that it's so easy for these distractions to deter us from our purpose. And when I made the mission and vision to do the speaking, I just simply said, here's the core, and I will not go outside of that core. If someone wants me to do that, I'm just going to have to say no. And that brings me to, if you followed me for very long, you've seen the 10 chairs thing that I do, and the 10 empty chairs where the students vote for each other to come off of the quote unquote island. Kind of related to Survivor Island, that TV show. And so if you've seen that, you understand what I'm about to say. And he said he had never seen anything quite like that 10 chairs thing in metaphor, and how we leave the decisions that we make can leave empty chairs. And that's a metaphor that is an actual physical, literal metaphor. If we make decisions that, that kills someone else, or perhaps, kills ourself, when we make decisions that then you can look at, it leaves the heart with an empty chair. It leaves, and I can go on and on. And so those distractions that the world sells us, one of them is that I suppose a way that I could say it is that we are leaned into to not point out or even maybe discipline people for wrongdoings. We get criticized and crucified for that. And boy, I don't know if you could hear that, but whatever that was loud in my ears. Hopefully it was nothing coming to get me. But anyway, back on point. When we let me skip ahead a little bit, and I'll throw those notes out because I'm burning up time as my usual self. So I wrote down some things that are really easily distractions a couple of weeks ago for this segment, and the if onlys, right? We're constantly being sold if onlys in the market of life. And if only you give more money, we can do this. If only you give more time and dedicate to this problem, it will go away. The if only, or the next election, we promise we're going to get rid of this, and insert, your virtue signal here kind of thing, and what you're fighting for. And we'll get that done at the next election. We're always hearing your next job performance will give you that promotion, or your next job promotion, you're going to get the bonus or the raise or whatever else. Or this has been going on for a while, and I've really dug into this a lot in the past. And that is, next year we're going to fix the homeless problem. And yet all they do is hire more people and give pay raises to the people that are supposedly trying to fix the, homeless problem, when all it does is seem to grow. It's very interesting to look at all those distractions that are happening, and if we can step back and just be wise enough not to shop in that market of distractions, where we can then, come in and use our purpose. As I wrap up before giving away a shirt, I want you to think about something that I think is extremely important in every single person's life. You need to figure out your purpose. And I really mean that in a positive way, not a negative way, but you need to figure it out, and you need to do whatever you can to really plant your roots into that purpose, no matter what the weather is, no matter the storm. If your roots are good and deep within that purpose, you just will not be swayed by anything. It doesn't mean that you won't make mistakes along the way, or it won't mean that maybe there's a very convincing argument that comes in and helps you modify or tweak or whatever that purpose that you have, that makes it that much more powerful of a purpose and more pointed of a purpose. But if you can plant those roots, no matter the weather, you will be able to sustain that. And sometimes that purpose is Let me put it like this. I talked to, over the last dozen years, hundreds of people who have lost their kids in different ways. I'll just put it. And there's a very common theme to that, and that is that they don't really want to publicize, I suppose, that they lost their child for whatever reason, and that's okay. And so if your purpose is simply to support someone that might be fighting a fight that you don't feel you have the ability to do, and I don't mean support in money wise, but just in the fact that you support them, you're just constantly encouraging them, cheering them on. That's a purpose. That's a very, very powerful, very, very necessary purpose. Maybe it's to help take care of grandkids. That's a purpose. I mean, the purpose is not necessarily something that you view as a very large thing, but something that is just unique to you and something that you are able to do. It's very, very important, in my opinion, to do that and then to plant those roots in that purpose. And as seasons change, you might need to reevaluate that, like I said. So anyway, make sure that you don't shop in that market. Be wise enough to not shop in the market of life's distractions. I don't mean to not be involved in the things of this earth, not at all. But if we are shopping in those distractions and in that market, we will stumble, we will fall, we will fail, we will look like a fool. And it's easy for me to do that. So I try really hard not to get caught up in those distractions as best as I can. So anyway, if you remember, as we're drawing this today, if you remember, I am not going to do Thursday and Friday live anymore. I'm working on other deeper content. And I'm also, congratulations, Minnesota girl. I'm also working on subscription, a subscription-based content that will help support the mission and vision of Shiny Brand and all those things. So less is marvelous, as I said the other day. And I think that's something that we should all really look at and evaluate with and in ourselves. So I'll stop rambling. I'll see you Monday morning at 6:30. Hope that you have a great rest of the week and a fantastic weekend.
You know what I just saw?
Who is this guy?
I call myself Podcast because of my podcast.
I have exorcised the demons. This house is clear.
So it's done.
It's done.